So this video has been a super popular demand to make a video on the Shot Trainer. So today I'm going to go through the Shot Trainer, how you use it, how you adjust it, how to make sure you are using it in the right way, and what drills and exercises you can do, and how to use these in your training. So let's roll the intro and then we'll get to the video. So before we get started, obviously I'm going to assume that you've got the correct size of Shot Trainer to start with. So that's obviously the first step, but you can find guidance on that on their website and when you go to buy these. So make sure obviously you've got the correct size, and then the next thing is obviously to fit it. So very simply, the sleeve side here, so this is the sleeve side, you've got two parts to the Shot Trainer. The part with the hook here, and that's got the attachment, that's what you then put on the string in a minute. And then I'll just put that away for now. And then you've also got the sleeve side. This is what goes over your arm. So what you want here is you've got two ends to this. There's one end with a cuff here, and you want to make sure that this cuff here goes on the lower end of your arm, and the wider part that doesn't have the cuff here, that goes on the top of your arm. So this is going to be the top. So I put my hand in there, and very simply you just pull it up your arm and you locate it here so that the elbow is in between the two pads. So you've got, as you can see, pad here, pad here. This is the attachment that you then put and clip onto the other attachment that goes on the string, and you've got the two pads here, and that's it. So very, very simple. And the benefit of this is, as you can see, you can just leave this on. I can shoot normally now and just leave this on, and then all I need to do is clip it on and shoot and use it, and unclip it if I want to. So that's the benefit of this. And also, if it's cold, keeps your arm nice and warm. So that's another benefit as well. So now with this end, what you do here is this metal clip is what you clip on to this end in a minute, but you need to first attach it to the string and then use these adjusters here to set the right length. So you just simply attach this to the string in the same way as you would attach a finger sling. So you just loop it through. So here, you just loop it through here, and then take the other end to loop it onto the string, pull everything through, and then I like to put mine at just below the knocking point, so I don't, change the knocking points or move them around or anything, or misform them from applying this on the string. But this is what it looks like here. So you just put it on the string like that, and you've attached it to the string now. And now you've got the attachment here, and you just use these fasteners here to adjust. You just use these fasteners to adjust the position and the length of this strap. So what you want to do is clip on. So obviously you move this round and you just clip this on now to your elbow attachment like that. Now you're attached. And what you want to do is you want to check the length. So what you want roughly is you want a 1 inch gap between your fingers and the string. So when you get your fingers here, you want roughly a 1 inch gap. So you can see that that's perhaps a tiny bit too short, and you want a tiny bit longer gap here. So you can adjust that. Now it's a little bit tricky to adjust it when you're clipped in. So you just unclip it and then adjust it, and I'll show you that now. So now I'll just unclip, and I'm just going to adjust it and make it a tiny bit longer. Now I've made that longer now, and you can see that when I have my hand on the string, it's very much the same. So I need to adjust that more now. So this is just a bit of trial and error, and I just need to adjust it a bit more. So now I've adjusted this again. Let's see the length. So now when I come here, you can see it's roughly about 1 inch here. So when I hold my hand out close to the string like this, there's roughly 1 inch between my fingers and the string here, and this is a decent starting point to go with. So now I can simply draw up to start with without my fingers on the string and just see the length. So now let's draw up and see. So as you can see, the length is okay, but it's actually perhaps a tiny bit long. Just as I drew up there, the kind of elbow sling has just made itself in the correct position on my elbow, and it's just kind of slid into the correct position now. So now when I draw up, it doesn't move anymore, but this does feel a tiny bit long now. If you then If I then look here, you can see how the gap is actually just increased slightly, so I just need to shorten it a bit. So let's shorten it back and see if we can get the correct length. So now I've shortened that again, and let's check the length again, and you'll see here that it's gone a bit shorter, and we'll just check that by drawing up and seeing what the length is like. So if I draw up now, here, the length feels okay. Feels a tiny bit too long for me. So I'm going to shorten it a tiny bit more one time, and then I'll show you the length of that and how you then use it. So finally, this should be in the final position now. I'll show you the length here. So it's maybe just a tiny bit under an inch, but there's the length. Now when I draw up, that's a better length there. So now what I'll do is show you how to use this with your fingers on the string and using it as a release. So the first thing you can do with this is you can do shot trainer holds, which is simply you just draw up without using your draw fingers. You just draw up and you just hold at the full draw position and make sure everything's in the correct position, but you just hold with the shot trainer. And this is great for isolating the muscles on your back, learning to get to what we call real full draw, and really getting into alignment and strengthening those back muscles without limiting yourself with your finger strength and your hand strength and your arm strength and so on. So it's a great drill to do and an essential part of any archer's training plan and stuff like that. So the next thing you can do though, which is the real key with the shot trainer, a real great exercise, is to basically practice how you release and execute the shot. So what you do, this is why it's so important to set the length correctly. What you do is you first draw up with the fingers exactly like normal, and then you release the shot, and the shot trainer is going to catch the string basically, so you can release without the string hitting and letting go properly. So I'll come up here, and then I'll come to full draw and release like that, and as you can see on release the string is being caught by this, and that basically wants to pull the elbow forwards and basically wants to make you collapse. So you have to really make sure your execution is aggressive and the movement you keep through the expansion, through the follow through, through the release, and you do the correct thing and really keep that movement. Otherwise, the shot trainer is going to make you collapse and you'll have a weak looking shot. So I'll try and show you basically a weak looking shot, an example of this. So you'd come up and you'd be hit like that. The shot trainer would pull you forwards, and that is what a lot of people, when they first use the shot trainer, would look like. What you want to do, and I'll try and get this a lot better now. So what you want to do is you want to release and really keep that movement and keep that direction like that. So you want to make sure there's no collapse there, and this is the beauty of the shot trainer and using it to make sure that you execute in an aggressive way. And then when you do this exercise, 6-10 shots, something like that, and then you go to shoot, you'll be amazed by exactly the feeling of the shot you get, how aggressive it feels, how clean the release feels, and it's a great drill to do. And again, just a staple in any archer's training plan. So definitely give this a go. So that is basically how to set up and use the shot trainer. Now I'll unclip here, but I want to identify one area that a lot of people bring up when you mention a shot trainer, and that is basically that people argue that the shot trainer is bad for the shoulder and it hurts the shoulder. It's not good to do. It's a bad exercise. I've heard a lot of people say this, but it's really not very true that it's a bad exercise to do. Yes, if you do it wrong, and if you do it a lot, or if you just really increase the amount you're doing the shot trainer in a very small period of time, it probably will be bad for the shoulder, because by the nature of it, when you release normally, you release and there's no load. The arrow is gone, the string is gone. With the shot trainer, there is definitely a much higher impact on the shoulder, because when you release, when you're here, the force of the bow is pulling you forwards. So yes, there is much more load on the shoulder. And if you normally shoot 100 arrows a day, and then you go and shoot 100 arrows with the shot trainer, yes, you probably will put a lot more load through the shoulder. You definitely will, but you probably will find it more uncomfortable. But it doesn't mean it's a bad exercise. It doesn't mean it's bad for you, because it's simply not meant to eliminate all of your shooting. It's not meant to replace all of your shooting. It's supplementary to your existing training, and it's an exercise that's really good to do, and you do it in certain small batches. And yes, it might have more load on the shoulder, but you manage this and you use it how it's intended to be used, so that you can then, compare it and contrast it with the normal shot feeling you've got and integrate it in your training. So I definitely wouldn't recommend, like I said, if you shoot 100 hours a day, you wouldn't just eliminate all of your shooting and go to shooting just 100 hours with a shot trainer. It is going to be more load on the shoulder because of what I mentioned, but this is not a good argument for just avoiding the shot trainer completely, because it's such a useful tool, and you only have to look at the world's top archers who all swear by it and use it in the correct way and see it's a valuable tool to know that it's something that's really good to use. So don't just dismiss it because of this, in the same way that, if you're in an athletic sport or something, you'll see athletes doing maybe, box jumps or some other sort of jumping activity. If they replaced all of their training with these jumping activities, that would put a lot of load, probably through the knees, through the hips and stuff like that, and it could cause knee injury, it could cause, knee problems, stuff like that. But that's not what it's for. They don't replace every single part of their training with these jump exercises. It's an integral part of their training mixed in with everything else. And that's exactly like the shot trainer. So don't just dismiss it and say it needs to be removed from your training at all because it's more load on the shoulder, when you're really missing a trick if you don't use this. So that is what I wanted to say on that topic, especially because I know there's going to be a couple of people in the comments that are like, oh, you shouldn't use the shot trainer because of the shoulder. I get it. I've been there before myself, where I've had, some pain from doing this, but most of the time it's when I did it wrong, and also if I did far too much for the amount of normal training that I did, and I didn't just keep up my normal shooting conditioning. So it's really important to remember that. So that's been a complete overview of how to use this shot trainer and how to use it in your training, how to integrate it into your training, how to set it up and make sure you've got the correct length. I hope you found that video useful. As always, be sure to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you haven't subscribed already. I'll put the links to social media down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.